Hello, everyone. This is Jessica from Norcross. I'm at the Pointe, and today we are going to talk about ways to get our children to eat vegetables. But before we get started, what you'll see down below is the sign up sheet. So if you can just sign that, that would be really great. Fill out that survey. And I believe if you fill out surveys, there's a chance that you can win a gift card to Amazon. I've read that this week. So if you want a gift card for Amazon, get onto this video, click below on the link to show that you participated in today's discussion on ways to get our children to eat more vegetables. I'm actually in here with my son. He's 3 years old. If you're watching with me right now, in the comment box below, tell me how old your kids are or the children that you watch are. So maybe we can collaborate with ideas, right, on how we can help our child or children or kids in general to eat healthier and to incorporate veggies. So again, thank you for tuning in on our conversation on how to get our children to eat vegetables. I was struggling with this with my 3 year old, and we've seen some improvement. Just a reminder again, you can sign the sign up sheet below to increase your chances of getting an Amazon gift card from TR Communities. Oh, hi, Kimberly. You have a 7 year old daughter. My guy is 3. You might hear him because he's over here chilling on his iPad. And hopefully he's paying attention because I want to give him some vegetables, more vegetables. Kim, I don't know how your children are, or your daughter is regarding vegetables, but my guy is stubborn. He's very stubborn about vegetables and textures. And so I intentionally picked this subject so that I can encourage other parents or people who are caretakers to give them some tips on how to do this, how to get them to eat some fruits, right? So again, I'm over in Norcross, Georgia, and I've got a 1 year old. So okay, let's talk about the do's. I'm gonna jump right in it because I've got half an hour here with you all. And thank you for participating, Kim. I appreciate that. So let's go over some of the do's, right? So, the first thing I want to say is that, when dealing with a combination of feeding problems or food allergies or picky eaters, it can get tough altogether. My son doesn't have a food allergy, but he is very, oh, kale chips? Look at me getting distracted. I actually, I just started making, I made some and didn't come out as good, so I've been YouTubing other videos. But kale chips is something I definitely want to try because he likes to snack on junk food. But I'm trying to get rid of junk food. I blame junk food on grandma and grandpa. So we're trying to change that up. But thank you. And if you have a recipe for kale chips that help it to be crunchy rather than soggy, please put that in the messages too so I can take that information with me. um, okay, so research suggests that dietary habits are crucial in terms of the dietary needs of a child. So those habits, like grandma and grandpa giving my baby cheese doodles all day, that's a problem, right? But if you establish a new set of habits for your children, it becomes a second nature to do better. And like the kale chips option, oh yes, yes, Kimberly. So it's a good junk food. I feel like that's something that he can get into and eat it and not feel like it's healthy for him. So it's almost like tricking our children to eat. So before I move on, I just wanted to give a little bit of stats on this. The USDA, that's the U.S. Department of Agriculture, suggests that vegetables should be our main food group, followed by whole grains, then protein and fruit. And then lastly, it's dairy. Kids often don't like textures and colors of vegetables. So that's kind of the deterrent I know with my son. He just looks at it. We tried giving him a green smoothie and he was just like, no. And we told him like there's mango in there. We showed him the process, but because it's green, he won't do it. But he'll drink it if you put it in a cup that isn't transparent and he can't see the color. He'll drink the whole thing up. It's the color for him. So that's our that's our battle. Um, so I'm going to talk about these do's or don'ts. It's very simple and quick. And if you guys have any do's or don'ts, please let me know. Like I'm definitely taking Kim's suggestion for the kale chips for sure. So if there's anybody else watching, please, this comment section is great. So this is a good way to communicate. All right, so our first do serve veggies first. This I probably need to do for myself as well, like not even just for my son, but a lot of times when we have our plate and we try to make it as colorful as possible with different, food groups, you've got your proteins and your whole grains, and then you've got your veggies. A lot of times you go for the meats and the carbs and all that first, and you save the veggies for last. And that's where it becomes a thing where it's like, ooh, I'm too full to even eat that. So if we start reshaping our habits and putting our vegetables first and eating that first, then you'll have space one to get it all in, and you're less likely to kind of go overboard on the fattier or the carbohydrate foods. So considering eating the veggies first for your children might be a good move. And that's something that I've actually tried to incorporate as well for my son. Um, sometimes, oh, I'll go to the next one, but sometimes he like just looks at it and I just feel like I've wasted food, so I'll eat it. But I do try to get him to eat the vegetables first. How successful that's been, again, establishing any habit takes time. And so we just really got started in doing this. So over time, I'm hoping and I'm hopeful that he will come around, right? The second do is do make snacks count. Snacks. So the pediatrician for my son, I was explaining to her, my complaints about him not wanting to eat. And she said, like, she makes her own bread. And I'm not that fancy, but if you or anybody makes their own bread, adding some vegetables in the batter might be a good way to kind of sneak it in. So she says she sneaks like zucchini in her bread. Um, and that's how she's able to get that in there. So if you're making a sandwich, he's still getting some type of vegetable, or she getting some type of vegetable in their diet. This list that I have here also says, try packing lunches with vegetables and snacks and cutting the vegetables into fun shapes with a cookie cutter. So I know, like, sometimes you're on the go, you might not even be able to do that, but making the snacks fun is really cool. So, like, with carrots, I know he's pretty small, so I don't let him do the little baby carrots, but I will kind of chop them up even finer, and we make it like vegetable French fries, and we'll dip it in like a hummus. And he's just, I don't know, he's not really into it, but I try to make my own hummus, and so I put my own seasonings in there, and he seems to be leaning towards it. Like, fingers crossed, I'm okay with that. And he when we used to do French fries, he would eat French fries. When we did fast foods, but we cut that out a while ago. Um, there are so many options for healthy snacks for kids, and fruit is another way to make snack time vitamin and nutritionally packed. So, see, once I said fruits, that's when he's like, his ears perked up. He likes the sweets. So we try to, if we're going to do a vegetable, we try to maybe pair it with the fruit so that he'll do both. It's been a challenge, but we're getting there. So, oh wait, excuse me, do make breakfast green. So I thought this was interesting. For breakfast, people think, waffles, scones, bagels and cream cheese, coffee. Um, Considering putting green into your breakfast is something I never thought of unless you're doing, like, you're juicing, right? But for a kid, they might not like really be into that. But I did see somewhere that, some people warm up avocados, mash it up, and use it as a spread. So if you want to use it as a spread on your toast, with an egg or something, or you slice up tomatoes, and they could eat it alongside an omelet or adding it in the omelet. These are good ways to kind of incorporate vegetables into their breakfast. So they're getting it right in the beginning of the day anyway. And by, trying to find ways that you can make it creative is just such a good deal. And you can always talk to your kid and see like, hey, that wasn't so bad. We can do that again, right? So that's what you can do. You can talk to your kids about it. I think he's over me talking about vegetables. He just walked out the room. Alrighty. So that's the breakfast, making it green. Do be adventurous. So resistance often centers on kids thinking food is strange because it's new. My guy, he does not like to try new things. Do you guys want to see him? Hold on. Elias, come. Come say hi. Say hi. Oh, Elias, come say hi. Say hi. Look at mommy. Look at mommy. Hi. Say hi.
Say hi.
Okay. You can go sit down. Go sit down. Go ahead. All right. So, so yes, be adventurous. So sometimes, especially with him, if it's something he's never seen before, he just thinks it's strange, and he's like, "What is this new item? I don't want anything to do with it." And we're like, it's delicious. Try it out, and he's not trying to have it. So when they say be adventurous, what we've done is we would take our son to a farm so that he can see where vegetables are grown. So it's like he's familiar with apple trees, so apples is not a foreign thing. So if we want to make an applesauce and blend it, he's not like, what is this weird texture? He knows that the apples come from the tree. He knows the source of it, and he trusts the source of where they come from. So that is a good way to encourage them to try new things if you show them where it's from. Them seeing that it's not some weird paste or like, what is this foreign material you're trying to feed me, is not something that you know they want. So I think it's important to do that. Taking your children to farms if you can, or if you can't because of COVID or just distance or time, even just watching something on YouTube might be helpful so that they can see like a farm on YouTube, see where the vegetables come from in a farm, where animals come from, how where the milk comes from. Make it an event, with your family. A lot of like county fairs. I'm from New York originally, so the county fairs, they would have like a petting zoo area, and you can milk a cow. So you can see the things, and the children like can trust and know, okay, so this isn't some space food. This isn't some crazy stuff. This is, from a farm that I trust and I visited, right? And maybe even becoming a member of that farm so that you can get your produce from there is always helpful, and it's good for your community too. Just throwing that out there. Helping local farms is a great thing. All right. So of the do's, we talked about being adventurous, so showing them where it comes from. And if you want to do your own garden, you can do that too. That's kind of cool. If we had the land to do that right now, I mean, not now, but if we had the space, because we're renting an apartment, we can't just make a garden, like a vegetable garden. So maybe an indoor one. We would love to do that. Like I honestly believe that pesticides, all that stuff that goes on at some farms, you have to be particular about what farms you go to, and where you get your food. So if you can grow your own food, that'd be great too. So our do's were: do be adventurous, so showing them where it comes from. Do make breakfast green, so adding vegetables to breakfast items. To incorporate vegetables and fruits into snack time so that they're not just anticipating it at big meals, they're having it throughout the day. And then serving the veggies first is a great way to get it out of the way before the big meal, right? So here are some don'ts. Don't let them forget where it comes from, right? And that's kind of piggybacking on the adventurousness of being adventurous. So going out, letting them know where it's from, letting them get involved. If you want to plant some herbs of your own, and they see like the process of the leaves or mint leaves or whatever you want to grow, as they see that process, they're like, whoa, I did that. I'm a part of that. So I'm going to grow one too. And I can eat it because I trust it because I made it, so to speak. Don't eat on the go. This is another don't. When eating with kids, it's important to sit down together in comfortable furniture, if you've got that, and observe the way that your children eat. Sometimes kids have difficulty eating because of larger coordination and balance issues. So it's important to kind of evaluate your own child to see, and this goes for like, I don't want to say there's an age limit to it, but like understanding the developmental capacity of your child. So my son is 3, as I mentioned. When he was 1.5, 2, or maybe just 2 years old, when we put him in daycare originally, he wasn't eating at all. And I was like, what is going on? I would call the daycare. They're like, he doesn't want to eat. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? And they're like, well, we give him the food, but he doesn't feed himself. And the thing is, they cooked food that didn't look like the food I cooked. And so because he wasn't familiar with it, he did not want to feed himself. And I guess grandma and grandpa, when they would babysit him, they used to feed him all the time. So he would only want people to feed him, especially if it's a new food he's never had. Or if it doesn't look like mommy and daddy's cooking, you're feeding it to me. That was his thing. So he wasn't eating, not because the food was bad, but he, one, didn't trust the source. Low key. He didn't trust the source. And then secondly, he wanted to be fed, right? So understanding the developmental level of your child is important because if they haven't uh, perfected the large gross motor movements, such as taking a fork and, well, that would be fine motor to poke it in the food, but the gross motor would be to like bring it to their mouth and make sure all the food stays on the utensil they're eating. Those are things that you could keep an eye out and see. Um, there are also developmental things with food textures for children, but that's something that you can talk to with your pediatrician if you are truly concerned about your child not wanting to eat foods. Um, so yes, don't eat on the go. Eating with them, them knowing that it's a family event rather than just like eat up your food, because I'm guilty of doing that too. Um, it becomes something where they look forward to that time with you, and they'll participate in eating more. So if the vegetables are there and you guys are not just eating on the go, on the fly, like eat when you can, or doing something like if you all sit together, if you can, because it's very difficult, but if you can, that's something that can maybe make them more comfortable to eat because they're with you and they want to spend time with you. Um, don't be fooled by fake veggies. This is like the fake stuff is what gets me. If you've watched some of my other virtual videos, I talked about processed foods a lot. I talked about weight loss, and I'm not a weight loss guru. I am not someone who eats as this perfect lifestyle, right? But I'm trying, and these videos, believe it or not, is what actually forced me to actually practice this because I didn't feel comfortable talking about it with you all and not doing it myself. So processed foods, we cut that out significantly. And the thing about the processed foods is that there are these chemicals and salts and bread. They put all these things in our foods, the agricultural folks, to make it last longer. But the issue with that is that over time, those chemicals and salts and fructose and sugars and all that stuff, they actually will affect your cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular system, your endocrine system when it comes to diabetes, your GI when it comes to, or your gastrointestinal when it comes to your cholesterol levels. Like the ramifications from these items is what's causing society to have such an increase in ailments and diseases. Like it really comes from what we eat. With the pro sides of processed foods, yes, it lasts longer. By the time the food gets to your house, you can actually eat it because the expiration date isn't like the next day. I understand that. However, for our health, especially with COVID is something that targets people whose immune systems are weakened. And if we're eating things that are foreign and bringing them into our bodies, it doesn't do us it actually does us an injustice to our health. And so that's why I'm spending a little more time on this fake veggies thing because it's a big deal, this fake food. So even like the drinks that we used to buy for our son, we don't even buy those anymore. We get the 100% juice, or we make the smoothies ourselves. My husband and I, we're just regular folk. Like there's nothing special about us. We don't think we're better than anybody. Well, you know what? He would beg to differ. I am special, okay? But we just recognize that like we're getting older. We have a child. Why am I feeling sluggish? Why am I having all these headaches? Why, personally for me, I have celiac disease, so I can't have gluten. But where'd that come from? Did it come? I read studies that like a lot of people with this gluten intolerance, it actually comes from pesticides in the food that they were eating that were processed. So it's just like I can even trace back what it is that made me the way I am, but I just can't have gluten anymore. That's wheat. So I am taking this one serious about like the fake stuff. So chips and crackers. Oh wait, a way to determine what is process as if is okay. I'm speaking too fast. A way to determine what foods are processed, a way to help you do that, is to look at it, and if the food does not look like something straight from the farm, then there must have been some additional steps to get to where it is. For example, cereal, crackers. Those items don't just grow from the ground as a cracker, right? Like it grows as like a grain. The grain goes through a process, mixed with something, with salts and blah 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 blah, baked and then packaged in plastic, and then who knows how long it's there, slapped on an expiration date, and shipped to your house, and we eat it as a snack. That's how you can tell it's been processed, because it's been through a process of items from when it grew out the ground to when it got to your table or your kitchen or your pantry. So that's how you can tell. Often they're dyed, so things that are like weird colors. You know what I mean? Like, like if it's a weird color, that's just a signal. Okay, that's just a sign. Um, so veggie snacks, just be careful about the artificially flavored veggie snacks, because they don't actually contain the nutrients or the health benefits of vegetables. That they often give kids the incorrect information about the colors, flavors, and textures of vegetables. So if you're gonna do a vegetable snack, Miss Kimberly Strong got our back here. She told us about some kale chips. Okay, it's green like green is supposed to be, not like the veggie chip green, because I don't know any veggies that light. You know what I mean? Except for maybe celery. But that's not like that's an artificial color. Anyway, so consider that when you're doing veggies. Don't do like, oh, I'm eating, potato tots. It's a vegetable, so I'm good to go. Like it's deep fried. It's deep fried, and if it's a frozen tater tots, there's most likely a preservative in there to keep it from expiring or being moldy, right? So just consider the fake veggies. Like people will say, "Oh, I'm gonna put ketchup on my meal because ketchup is a tomato, so I'm good." Like, okay, you're reaching, but you guys get the point. Our last one is don't forget to ask. I'm going to read this part. Find out why your child doesn't like the certain food. Like maybe they have a reason. Maybe they don't like it because it makes their tongue tingle, and it's like, oh, okay, we gotta chill. Um, is it the appearance? Is it the texture? Is it the taste? Because if it's the texture, maybe you can prepare it in a different way. So maybe they don't like baked potato, but if you were to slice it up and make like a scallion dish, or season it up with some garlic, natural herbs. Do you know what I mean? Like it's still the food, but you can switch it up in a different way so they can appreciate it. Does that make sense? So if it's a texture thing, you can manipulate the texture. If they don't like okra, but because of the way that the vegetable looks, you can chop it up. You can maybe mix it with other vegetables so it's not as discernible. So those are things that you can consider. Having conversations about food is a great idea, because sometimes when kids know how much effort you put into a meal and how important each item is for their body, they are more likely to eat even what they don't like. It's very interesting. So if your child maybe wears glasses, and they do not want to eat carrots for the life of them. You can tell them, hey, by increasing the chances of, increasing your carrot intake, you're getting something called vitamin A. So that when you're older, you're not going to have issues like night blindness, where it's hard to drive. So, I mean, it's a little extreme, but it's true a little bit. But that's something that you can tell them to let them know, like, what it is about carrots that's so important, how it can help them for their particular situation, right? Drinking lots of water. If a child has acne, or you can say, hey, the more water you drink, it keeps your blood hydrated. You're able to really get your organs diffused with blood, and like you can go into it. And if it's something where it's a topic that's too hard, oh, Kim, you wrote some more. I didn't even see that below. Let me write. um, so yeah, these are ways to manipulate the food situation so that they can be more receptive to it. Even the Cookie Monster is on board with the healthy eating. He had a song about healthy eating that we sing here for my son, and because it's the Cookie Monster who's involved with cookies, he'll listen to the Cookie Monster about vegetables. So stuff like that. Now Kimberly says here, my older son was like that with I think that's is it an apple? I finally asked him and he said it made his mouth itch, right? See? So sometimes we give it to them and they don't want to eat it and we get mad like eat your food. Like maybe there's a reason why they don't want to eat it. So it's good to have a conversation. And a tip from Kimberly again is to get your kids involved in cooking with you, which makes them more likely to try the food. I love that idea, and that's something that I've implemented with my son too. As I mentioned, he's 3, so I have like a high chair. I put it behind me a little because I don't want him too close to the stove, obviously. And he loves to watch me cook, especially like pancakes or something. He finds it hilarious that I flip the pancake. But in general, like I've been putting bananas in there for more fruit intake. Um, but he likes to watch me make cornmeal. He loves cornmeal. It's a Haitian dish my parents make. It's called maï moule, and I've adapted that. My parents are from Haiti, and he loves it with spinach. But he doesn't like spinach in anything else. But when I put spinach in this, gobbles it up. So it could be a texture thing. It could be, a reaction thing like Kimberly's son. So, guys, I really hope, because I got 2 minutes left, and I know someone else is going to have another program soon. Thank you so much for coming on this. Please, please, please fill out the survey at the end. Let me know how I did, and let me know what subjects you want me to talk about regarding health. As you know, I'm the health coordinator at the Pointe in Norcross, Georgia. And also, with the surveys, there's a chance that you can win an Amazon gift card. If you've got questions about that, reach out to the manager at your facility and they can tell you more about how to get that. But it involves actually filling out these surveys. Again, my name is Jessica. Guys, thank you so much. I definitely want to give a big shout out to Kimberly Strong. Thank you so much for your participation. This was amazing to have this conversation with you. If you can write within 2 minutes where you're from, I'll give you your place a shout out before I have to clock out of here. Um, and if you guys have any questions, again, reach out to me, reach out to your manager. I really hope you enjoyed this conversation. I learned so much, and I think the best conversations is when you and whoever you're talking to can both learn. It's not a one-way dialogue. So thank you so much for the tips that you shared with me, Kimberly. It looks like my time is running out, but I hope to see you guys next Thursday at 6:30. Please tell your friends and your residents or neighbors to hop on too. I love these conversations. Please, please, please. So next Thursday, at 6:30 Eastern, which is 5:30 Central. Glen Rock, hey Maryland. All right, DMV. Alrighty, all the best. Shout out to Glen Rock Landing in Maryland. Stay safe, stay healthy. Peace, y'all. Bye.